Bluelock Season 2, Episode 12 review. If you guys like this type of content, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Every single like and subscribe really helps me a lot. I'm trying to hit the 5,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So every single one of those likes and subscribes really helps. And yeah, man, without further ado, let's get right into this video. So I have to get a couple things off my chest before I even start this whole video, because my last video ended up getting a lot of hate and a lot of negative reception basically in the comments and everything. A lot of people were saying, oh yeah, I'm just hate watching Bluelock. No. Guys, what do you guys understand? I review the episode. So obviously, it's a subjective thing already. I'm not coming from an objective perspective, all right? I'm reviewing the episode based on how I watched it and how I felt watching it. If you felt a different way, fine. But to claim that I'm hate watching Bluelock when I literally have an entire channel of reviewing Bluelock weekly would just not make much sense. I don't think that would make a lot of sense as a claim. Either way, people really like to say that, oh my god, let go of the animation. The animation's gonna be bad. It doesn't matter. Guys, I don't think you guys understand. We're watching an anime where the animation really matters, right? We're watching a literal anime. If I was to say, okay, you know what? Fuck the anime. Why don't I just review the chapters of the manga? There's literally no difference. I'm reading the better version either way with the manga, but I'm reviewing the anime. So if I'm reviewing the anime, I have to talk about the animation. So which is exactly why the animation plays a part in ruining some of these scenes that were amazing in the manga, but not as well good in the anime, which is why I keep talking about the animation. Either way, as Bluelock fans, I don't know why we're not revolting against the animation every episode, because we need to let these guys, we gotta whip them into shape. We gotta let them know that, yo, we do not appreciate this type of treatment. We shouldn't be getting this type of treatment because shows like Aiku and Kuroko no Basket have much better animation that came out years ago. So, like, I don't understand why we're asking for the bare minimum. Okay, if the Shido sequence was well animated. I already said that. It was well animated. That one sequence in the entire episode. What was the rest of the episode? A whole bunch of still frames. So come on, like let's stop asking for the bare minimum. We are Bluelock, the best-selling sports manga of 2023, and people are acting like the bare minimum animation for like 2 minutes is the best thing to ever happen. Now, let's get into my review of this episode. So the episode starts off with Aiku's backstory, and so honestly, I feel like they directed this part well. Like I've said, the direction in the season has been done well. It's just the only things that I do not mess with in the season is the animation, which ends up putting off some of the scenes. But since this is a scene that doesn't really need any crazy animation, I feel like it was done well. With the whole symbolism of the plant rotting and shit, you know, Aiku being told not to become a striker and play defender, you know what I'm saying? Then getting his new resolve to become the best defender, growing his new own plant, you know, and then towards the end of the episode, we get our own thing where Aiku says that if there is a plant for the greatest striker, he will protect him. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to let that plant be chopped off like he was, like his dreams were crushed. So yeah, Aiku had some crazy good development in this whole sequence right here. And we come back to the game where Aiku, you know, he just hit the flow and we get our first glimpse of Metavision, bro. We get our first glimpse of Metavision, well, in this match at least. We got a glimpse of Metavision all the way back in the third selection. But yeah, this is our first glimpse of Aiku's Metavision, and nothing really to scoff at here. It looks just like Isagi's did, low-key. Either way, we get their whole duel with Rin and Aiku part 2 dueling, and Aiku just completely shuts him down. Now, I don't know about you guys, when I read the manga of this scene and I watched the anime, I won't say it felt too different. It wasn't like the biggest thing ever. It's just, this is one of the rare cases where the animation didn't throw me off. It's just the manga art kind of like made it better. Like if you look at the panel where Aiku stops Rin, it looks like a crazy detailed panel. But where you look at the anime, it just feels like it lacks a little bit of weight. Yeah, of course the music does a little, like, it does its job trying to pick up the weight, pick up the slack where the animation and compositing fails, but you just can't beat the manga. This is one of the rare instances where the manga just had a crazy good panel that held a lot of weight. The next sequence we get in the episode is basically the Japan U20 going back on attack, and of course we know Shida Ryusei is now in flow. So Ryo is trying his best. He's literally fighting for his life trying to stop Shida Ryusei. Ryusei basically breaks free from Ryo. You know, he literally breaks his ankles, left, right, boom, we're gone. He's in front of Ryo. Sae plays the pass. The pass is dropping right in front of Shido. And Gagamaru, my GOAT, comes in clutch where he's like, you know what, Ryo? Just like that, you know, play some good defense like that, and then I'll be able to narrow down his shot course. And so Gagamaru guesses ends up wrong. He's literally making gambles in the middle of the biggest game of his life, like he's Baku or something. But yeah, so he guesses wrong, and Shido actually goes top, but then just like in the manga, this dude Gagamaru uses his hand to handstand and save the ball. I don't think I understand how crazy of a save this is, bro. No one could ever pull this off in real life. I'm just saying, this is an insane save. And what made this scene even better is what came after, with Rio being double teamed with his task of clearing the ball out of danger, because if he didn't clear it, they'll get a guaranteed goal for the U20 team. Rio then ends up using his copying skills once again to copy the technique that Nagi used earlier in the match to get his first goal. And it really just goes to show you how OP Rio's copy ability is, because he was all the way on the bench. He wasn't even playing. He was on the bench when he seen this goal happen. And so he was able to come in and copy it just from seeing it while he was on the bench. Now that is insanity right there, I'm not going to lie. And so he uses the move, gets the ball all the way up to bluelock for a break. We get an entire sequence with Isagi thinking how he can score. He's basically making his own plan. Typical Isagi things. He's just thinking what he should do, how he should score. And so he ends up getting this. I like this scene a lot where he links up with Nagi. I love this panel. I love this scene that they did in the anime. In the anime version, listen, they did it pretty well. Not gonna lie, despite the lack of animation, I wasn't really expecting a lot of animation for this sort of scene. But yeah, so they did it well with the 1-2 with Nagi. And Isagi is through on the goal, ready to score his first goal of the game. But just there, Itoshi Sae pulls up. And oh my gosh, did they do this right? I'm not gonna lie. I really like the way the screen flipped color and Isagi, like, oh my gosh, like there's no fucking way he did that, right? And so the OST that played right when Itoshi Sae showed up too was absolutely crazy. It really made you feel like he was a final boss when he pulled up right next to Isagi. And so Isagi, he's beginning to lose his resolve. You know, his puzzle pieces are falling apart. But then he pulls himself out of the darkness. He's like, nah, I could still score this shit. And I don't know why they changed. There's a panel where Isagi's looking up at the ball dropping, and him and Sae are battling out on the ground. And Isagi's eyes are in like kind of like the flow eye state in the manga, where in the anime they're just regular. We then get Isagi being unable to use his direct shot because Sae actually ends up changing his balance of the body. And so Isagi isn't able to line up his direct shot, but luckily for him, Ren ends up showing up on his right, and Ren's like, yo, Isagi, pass the ball right here. This is Ren's chance to really score in this match and, you know, bring him back. And so Isagi gives the ball to Ren, but just when you think Ren is free, Aiku shows up behind him, and it's just crazy. We're like, damn, so many things happening here. Something has to happen. While the ball is bouncing towards Ren, the screen ends up going in kind of like slow motion, just like how I said I wanted this scene to be adapted. I wanted it to be in slow motion. Everyone's looking at what the hell is happening in the middle of the Ren Isagi, and the middle where Barou's coming in with two defenders on him, and he slides in and whips the ball top left corner, bang bang, that's all she wrote. He then celebrates with his shirt off. He's going crazy. The music's going crazy. Everyone's going crazy. And I'm going to be honest, this didn't have the animation that it needed to have, but I don't think that they may have taken away from the scene. This, like, I'd say this was like, if the manga was a 10 out of 10, this was a 7 out of 10, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I would have liked for it to be like impact frames, just like how they did Shido's, just straight impact frames. Because in the manga, this shot felt like it was like a straight, like, boom. Like, it felt like a really hard shot that Barou just drilled into the left corner. But yeah, honestly, the panel adaptation, not gonna lie, this episode was a little lacking in that regard. But I guess it's just because the art in the manga was so good at this point. But yeah, the episode basically ends after this, where, you know, a couple conversations happening, and, you know, the ball being waited to be inbounded for the last goal of the game, where everyone's just, you know, getting ready for it. And we get this scene after the credits where Ren is basically like, yo, he's starting to get fired up. He's like, yo, I'm not going to let this motherfucker Sae beat me. I'm not going to let anyone beat me. I need to score this last goal. So you guys need to stay tuned for that. Now, what do I think of this episode as a whole? Now, this episode, I will say, in terms of panel adaptation, is probably the worst episode of this season. I don't think they adapted any of these panels like nearly as good as they adapted previous panels in the other episodes. But I will say the music was really good in this episode. It really made you feel that it was U20, you know, it really makes you feel these scenes that are going on. But another thing that I really liked about this episode was just the way they adapted the Barou goal. I feel like that's exactly how I envisioned it, and everyone else pretty much envisioned it when they read the manga, like everything going in slow motion. But honestly, aside from panel adaptation, I will say again, guys, like I said in the beginning of the video, there are so many still frames in this episode. So many still frames. Like, it's not even funny how many still frames there are in this episode, right? So, like, the animation is basically non-existent. But yeah, honestly, overall, I might give this episode a solid 8 out of 10. All right, maybe I may have been too harsh on the last episode, but this episode, I'll give a solid 8 out of 10. You know, maybe I was wrong about the last episode. Maybe you guys were right. I was just tripping. But I'll tell you this, I was definitely not hate watching the episode, guys. I like bluelock. I'm literally a bluelock channel. So why would I hate watch a series that I review? It just makes no sense. Either way, I hope you guys all like this type of video. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe down below. And please let me know your comments on what you rated the episode and what you would like to see, how you think the next episodes are going to go. I like to read the comments. And yeah, man, I hope you guys all have a great day. Goodbye.